What apps were you using when you're communicating? What apps are being used today? And maybe what different angle do you guys have here that maybe we're not looking at?
The fact that everybody in there is a human. We use Signal, we use Silent Circle, we had all the same thing, and people have the same name. And as soon as I first saw that, we were all in the gym talking about them. That looks like you're a normal person scrolling down on the phone, and you click one wrong name, and you don't realize there's two John Davises in your phone. That's what it looked like to me. Nobody sanity checked it, and you start communicating. I mean, we've launched out really detailed stuff on Signal chats. I mean, business stuff. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Things happen. I mean, there definitely been some checks and balances. Something needs to be sanity checking that, but that's real world. That's what they do. That's what everybody does. You have a group chat. You have a Signal thread. I'm sure you're on them too. That if that thing gets leaked and the photos that you share with your old buddies, something you don't want out there, it's the same thing. It's just on a huge public scale now. That seems very normal to me that someone messed up a Signal group chat.
At that level?
Well, no, you shouldn't have it at that level, but at the end of the day, people are human. They're brand new into that job. They haven't done that. I mean, Pete didn't have any experience doing that before. Like, how many people are in that? I don't know. I don't think it was malicious by any of those guys. I certainly don't think anybody would add a reporter into it.
I want you to understand the nonsense on the PBD podcast. Coming from the mouth of this Navy SEAL, so ridiculous that a clown like Mr. PBD podcast guy is actually sounding like the more reasonable one. Right? This guy says, oh, sounds like they're human. It's not a mistake that one person made, or two people, or three people, or four people. There were a lot of people on that chat. And these were not just low-level people or mid-level people. These were people at the very top. If you can have 100% failure, that's what we're talking about. 100% failure. Every single person on that chat who shouldn't have been talking that level of information on that kind of app should have known better. And he just hand waves it away. Oh, they're just humans. Let me give you some context. These are the same people who, if a brown-skinned general who's worked in the military for decades, Purple Heart, whatever, right, done nothing wrong, gets just randomly fired based on DEI claims, every single one of these people in this video would support that. They'd be like, yeah, it's very important to have, we'd have the best people, and this is serious stuff, man, the military, man, it's serious stuff. It's not a joke. We screw up and people die, right? These guys using an app that can be hacked, using an app where the group itself is not secure, so you can even make the mistake of adding the wrong person. Realize in a secure system, you couldn't make that mistake because that person wouldn't have been authorized for the type of group. It would have been a top secret level group, right? All the members would be top secret level people. So even if you wanted to add someone who's not top secret, you couldn't, right? Because it will be locked down. That's the reason why you need to use that level of application when things are this serious. A ton of senior level people getting fired who have done nothing wrong is easily acceptable. All you need to do is throw the word DEI. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to say they did something wrong or they were making a bunch of mistakes or they violated this thing or they were using Signal chat. You don't need nothing else. Just say the word DEI and it's kind of like, yeah, that's right. That's what these people are. And if you don't know, Navy SEALs are supposed to be very, very smart people. Unlike a lot of the other military units, they want the best of the best in terms of not just you can shoot guns, you can fight. They want very sharp people. Is this guy a Navy SEAL? I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But it's just disappointing to hear ridiculous comments like, oh, they're just human. What about that woman that was flying that helicopter that crashed into that civilian aircraft in D.C. early this year? Was she just human? Or the just human argument only works when no one gets hurt. So if there was a close call and there was no crash, would it be, oh, she's just human? Or would we be hearing about DEI and this and that and standards? Comment below. Let me know what you think.
Do you
It's
trust
sketchy.
it? Do you guys trust it?
I trust it for stuff that me and him are doing. I wouldn't trust it at that level.
So what do they
would've-
use now at that level?
I'll be honest, I would have thought there was some proprietary thing that Elon Musk has come up with now by now or something. The fact we're just downloading something off a regular app store on that level kind of surprised me, if I'm being honest.
I agree with you, bro. I actually agree with you.
But I also know a bunch of guys who are in the Beltway, senators, congressmen. That's how they normally communicate.
Yeah.
They just have, an unclass, we'll just call it an unclass chat. Me and Cole are texting back and forth, and we just do everything on Signal. That way it's secure.
So even you guys, when you guys don't text each other, you Signal on
I
everything.
mean, we normally text, but I'd probably have 50 Signal chats. From trainings we do, SWAT teams we're going to go train, everything's on a Signal chat.
So out of all of them, you trust Signal more than some of the other guys. Telegram, WhatsApp.
Definitely more than WhatsApp. No,
Okay. Got it. So
So, I would have expected a Navy SEAL to be better informed about secure communications. However, as an operator who, I don't know if he is or he isn't, but I'm assuming he's not a communications guy. That's not his specialty, so he doesn't have a need to know, right? Whatever his specialty was, whether it's tactical related, I'm sure, right? Hand-to-hand combat, he's a marksman, whatever. He's an explosives expert. Those are different fields of expertise. And then if you think about, but they needed to communicate in a secure manner. I mean, if this guy was out there doing missions, he wouldn't have been communicating with a Signal app, right? If you listen to his words, you can tell that that would not be the case. He uses the term unclass, right? Unclassified. So how would he communicate? Because he would have communicated in a secure manner. So why would he have been doing that and not be aware of how it's done? Well, because they would be using secure radios, right? He would go on a mission. They would provide him the gear, right? They may discuss like what channels and whatever in the mission brief, but he's not, unless he's again a comm guy or a tech guy or something. He doesn't really have a need to know of the ins and outs, right? It's not really relevant. Your mission commander sends you out with radios and tells you to use these for your mission. You're going to use them. Do you know what technology the radios use, how they communicate, how what makes them secure? As an operator, probably not, right? So that's probably why he's a little bit ignorant. Now, just being a Navy SEAL, you're not going to be sort of isolated from everything else. So just by being in that world, you might overhear things from other people that you work with. Maybe he did a mission with some CIA dude and the CIA said something and he remembers, but it's kind of outside of his area. So the answer to his question is two things: Interlink or Interlink chat, and there's also SIPRNet. So for that kind of a chat that they were having with Signalgate, that I would anticipate would have been something that they would have done using the Interlink chat. They've also got something called JWICS, Joint Worldwide Intelligence Communication System. So like I mentioned before, one of the many, many reasons why you should not be using something like Signal for that kind of communication is because on the apps that you should be using, again, that mistake could not have been made in the first place. In order for you to access the system, you would need to be authorized, right? You need to have the appropriate security clearance. That journalist would not have a login, would not have a terminal, he just basically, it's impossible. Even if you wanted to add him, you could not add him. If you wanted that journalist, like for some crazy reason, some kind of like 24 I remember the TV series 24, some kind of 24 type scenario, nuclear bomb going off in California or something like that. And for some reason, you need to talk to a journalist in a secure manner. That journalist would have to go to a secure location, right? Some kind of government building or something, or, you know, Jack Bauer. I know we're getting into like TV stuff, but Jack Bauer would have to take him to like some kind of maybe there's a senator that has. 'Cause I think the senators might actually have um, like a secure terminal in their homes. So, and I think there was a scene like that potentially in 24. I'm not sure, but that would be the scenario. So again, you would have to go out of your way to get somebody on to access these types of apps, right? So not only is it not on your personal phone that you're browsing the web and you're all over the place, and maybe you put it down somewhere at dinner and you turned your back for a second, or so many different things. You're dating someone and the person's actually a spy, and then when you're sleeping they're all up in your phone. All kinds of scenarios, right? The secure apps, secure devices, mobile devices, you wouldn't be taking it out to dinner, right? So the chances of someone getting access to it in the first place are very poor. And you're not going to be on there surfing the web, random websites. So if I wanted to hack one of these devices, not that it can't be done, I think just about everything is hackable, but it would be extremely difficult to do so, which is why these platforms would be extremely secure places to be discussing what they were discussing, unlike Signal, which has been and can be hacked, even though it is a very secure app, right? But your security is only as strong as its weakest link, right? So you could have, Signal could be the most secure app in the world, more secure than anything we have in the government, right? But it's only as secure as the person using it. It's only as secure as the device that it's on, right? If you, again, have this device that hasn't been, completely controlled and limited in access and all this kind of stuff, it's just kind of casually used, right? It's your own phone, so you can install any app you want. Maybe some of the apps you install are compromised, like, for example, TikTok, right? You're going to have TikTok installed on some kind of secure government device, right? But you might have it on your phone. I mean, think about that for a second. You're using Signal on a phone that's running TikTok, an app that the Chinese government have access to, right? So in theory, they could hack into your phone through TikTok and be monitoring your keystrokes, looking at what you're doing, right? You're not going to have TikTok installed on a government device. And even if it's possible, because they'd probably lock you down and you can't install it if you wanted to, even if for some reason they allow you to do that, it's probably going to trigger an alert, and someone from the IT department is going to contact you and ask you why the hell are you installing TikTok on a government device. Anyway, I'm going to put some information in the chat that you guys can take a look at if you're interested. Beyond that, are there other secure communication devices and systems that would be used by NSA and CIA and all these folks? Well, if there was, I wouldn't be able to tell you about it, would I?